Hello everyone, Fancy here. You're watching FANTAVISION, and today I am discussing the near death of GameStop. And what I really mean by that is, they've been on the brink of failure for a long time. I know I discussed quite a while ago, they aren't doing well. I've discussed in my Tales from Retail videos, they're not doing well. We all know why. Digital sales are up, physical sales are down. GameStop as a whole is not a place where people want to shop, and I don't blame them. I don't want to shop there. It's a miserable customer experience. It's not a great place to be. And because of that, they could be bought out, like it says, as soon as February, and that's insane. What's not only insane about them being, what was it, like $800 million in the hole? It's freaking crazy. $817 million in debt. Now, I don't know why there are two firms that are looking to buy the place. I personally would just let GameStop die in the water. I don't know who wants to invest in GameStop. That doesn't make sense to me. But again, I'm not, some smart business magnate person. I'm not an investor. I'm not some crazy entrepreneur who can predict what's going to happen in business. I'm just a regular guy looking at this business and going, their entire business is outdated. The way they make money is, it's rubbing everyone the wrong way. People are just kind of sick of it. I see countless videos online and countless comments about how shitty GameStop is and how people just generally dislike the company. And I don't know how they could ever change the public opinion, even if they went private, because that's another thing they're thinking of doing. They're thinking of shutting down a ton of stores to get rid of that debt and going private. And, you would see, oh my God, I can't even imagine how many stores would close to try to wipe away that debt. They're already a failing business. They're just going to be a failing business with less stores. Because think about how many different times they've tried to shift their business focus. Look at the stores now. You walk in, you see the desperation of this company attempting to just bail out the water of their sinking ship. There's toys, there's board games, there's t-shirts, there's so many non-video game related items everywhere. And they tried that rental program for like a month. If that even. I don't remember even seeing it in stores as an option. It might have been in some test stores, but there's none nearby. And I don't know how they would really be able to come back from this horrible hole they've dug themselves. And even if they did, I guess they could really focus down on pre-owned games and found a way to entice people to come back, entice people to get some sort of membership that maybe they go back to that elite thing. Because a lot of people, surprisingly, I didn't think they'd be upset, but when they got rid of the elite program, not just the pro, but like the pro elite or pro whatever they called it, the extra 20% off used games, a lot of people were really upset. And I feel like that's the sort of program they need to do, done better, to entice people to come back in. And I don't think they can afford to do some sort of discount on new games, which is why we've seen it roll back from Amazon, unfortunately from Best Buy. And I believe GameStop also had some sort of thing like that with new games as well, a discount. And they got rid of that as well. So I'm guessing that, especially because they're already negative millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, they're not going to be able to take that sort of hit to try to bring people back. But they really need something. And I don't know that they'll ever really overcome this. I think it's a matter of time before we see GameStop just gone. Because everywhere sells video games and used games. I know there are lots of people that buy used games, but not enough people to keep a giant business like GameStop afloat. If they went public and just kept their profitable stores and closed all the rest, maybe they could hang on. but I don't think we're going to see a successful GameStop like how they used to be way back when ever again. I don't think we're ever going to see a game store chain like that take off ever again. I mean, I need to do videos about all these different cloud things that are coming up. It's crazy. I remember I talked about the Google Cloud and what that would be like, but there's Amazon, there's Google, Microsoft is looking into it, Verizon's looking into it. There's all these different companies that are looking at the cloud as a viable way to stream games to people and making that as a service instead of buying games. As a person that prefers physical copies of games, unless it's PC, I don't see myself interested, especially when you look at the cable market and you see all these different data caps that everyone's stuck with. I mean, they range from my terabyte down to just a couple hundred gigabytes. That's not good. That's not good enough to make these streaming services work. And I'm surprised there's so many companies that are looking into streaming services, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. That's a different video. The point I'm trying to make is that people are moving away from physical. And as they do that, GameStop is just going to die. They're just going to die. And I mean, there's another cloud console that people are developing. It's just all these different digital ways that people can purchase games, and they don't have to go and get treated like shit at a GameStop. And a lot of people are ordering their games off of Amazon. They've got that $10 off. If you like pre-order like a new game, certain new games, you get like a $10 gift card to Amazon. I mean, that is the best deal out there right now if you don't have GCU still. And mine is going to be gone in February, and I'm already thinking like, what the hell am I going to do? Because people like me haven't spent that full 60 on a game in years, and thinking about spending like 64.85 on a game, I mean, that's a huge commitment to a game, especially when so many of these games these days are really disappointing, or they're chock full of more microtransactions trying to get you. And that's another thing that GameStop is not making money off of. These companies are, I mean, there's all these free-to-play games like Fortnite, and sure, they're probably making a little bit of money on these digital currencies that people are buying from them, but not nearly as much as a used game. A used game is where they get most of their profit from. And when you've got these live service games, I don't know, I just don't see them making a huge profit, especially because the game prices will just keep going down, but the companies themselves will keep putting out more digital content that people can buy, and they keep making money, while GameStop's just going to stop. And think about how many times that the game industry has tried to kill GameStop's profit, which really doesn't, I mean, it makes sense, but it doesn't at the same time. I get that they want the full amount of money for their game. They're trying to incentivize people to buy the game, but they did it in really shitty ways, like putting those online codes, the one-time redeemable thing. If you bought it used, you had to buy access to online. That's stupid as hell, but it's something they did, and I'm sure that didn't help GameStop at all. They've got that pre-order DLC. They've got all these different things that people want with the new game that they can't get with the used. Switch games, for instance. You can only, if you put the card in your Switch and you go to the Nintendo Rewards and you redeem the coins off that cartridge is redeemed. It's done. So if somebody is trying to, rack up the savings on there, they're going to want to get a new one. And I know that the savings is probably a lot bigger if you buy used, but think about the savings you get when you buy a used game if you don't have a pro card. It's only $5 off. And that's where I said you need to incentivize people to come back to GameStop and start shopping there again. Because $5 off is a fucking joke. It's not a good enough of a reason to buy a used game. $5 is nothing. If something is $5 off, it's not a huge deal. You wait for a much, much better deal. And if a game just came out, once again, Amazon, you're getting $10 back on a brand new copy. They need to compete. I think Best Buy is probably another huge reason. Amazon and Best Buy are a huge reason why GameStop is in the shitter. Because people are buying all of their games at Best Buy and Amazon. They're buying them off of Amazon because of the discount or the convenience, and they were buying them at Best Buy back when they had the GCU, because 20% off a new game is just ridiculous. And there was no reason to buy a game at GameStop unless you're buying it like midnight and you had to play the game that second and you didn't care about the 20% off. But most people do want to save $12 and they can wait a couple hours. So I think the end of GameStop is near. I don't see why people would buy them out. I don't. I think they will get bought out. I don't think they're going to choose to go private, because if they do, they're going to close a lot of stores. There's going to be a lot of people losing their job, which is sad. That's the main reason I haven't been cheering. Like, good, I'm glad they're dying. No, I would never say that, because it's not an evil corporation. It's not like Nestle or anything like that is actually doing things that are morally wrong and bad and hurting people. They just have scummy business practices. That's it. And they're employing a ton of people. And I know there are a lot of people out there that enjoy working for GameStop. And I feel bad for all those people once either they get bought out, they clean house, they get bought out, they change their business entirely. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting. So I did want to talk about that, though, because people have been sending me that article. And, of course, I make a lot of videos on GameStop. So let me know in the comments what you guys think is going to happen to GameStop. Do you think they'll get bought out? Do you think they'll go private? Do you think they're just going to shutter? I think it's inevitable at some point. They're either going to be a very hard-to-find store, and there's only going to be a few of them, or they're just going to be gone completely. That's what I think. And unfortunately, as much as I don't want it to happen, I think the future is going to be mostly digital, especially if these cloud services really do take off and internet companies stop with the data caps. I mean, that's a huge reason why I haven't even installed most of my Steam games, besides the fact that I have so many, is I don't have the bandwidth. I'm using most of my bandwidth making these videos and streaming for you guys. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how long GameStop holds on, especially once data caps are gone. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like the video if you guys liked it. Subscribe for more content. And as always, have a fantastic day. See you guys. The one thing I wonder is, if GameStop goes away, will there be more mom and pop used game stores? And the thing that I've noticed is, at least the ones nearby, the ones that are not huge corporate, game stores that sell used games, they sell them for way worse than GameStop. They sell them for even closer to retail. They give you less in trading credit. I remember I used to, when Play and Trade existed, I think it's only in California now, but we had a Play and Trade. It was in the mall. Even further back, I remember EB Games, GameStop, and Software, etc., all in the same mall. And I would take my game to each place to see which gave me the most trading credit. Most of the time, it was GameStop. So, I don't know. Even when I compared Play and Trade to GameStop, most of the time, GameStop beat them. So, those memes about how little you get in trading credit, they kind of apply to every game store. Maybe you guys have a mom and pop game store near you that actually gives you a decent amount in trading credit, but it's hard to survive in a business like that if you're giving too much for those games and then you're not turning them over and selling them immediately afterwards, because games just drop in value so freaking fast. If I was a game store, I would never carry Assassin's Creed, because that game goes from 60 to 30 bucks in just a matter of months. I mean, there are different games, I look at them like stocks. Fallout series is a good series to look at. Crashes hard. Call of Duty used to be a series that was a good stock, if you want to look at it that way. It would hold its value for a very long time. But since probably Black Ops 3, not a good stock. It just drops so hard. And Far Cry, most Ubisoft games just drop hard. But Siege is interesting. That's an interesting game to look at. And I could do a whole video about game values and prices, but man, I'm sure they've lost a lot of money. That's another thing they've probably lost a lot of money from, GameStop. It's just these bad games. Like Fallout 76, think about how many copies they bought for $55 or $50 or whatever they spend on these games, and they're going to be holding on to this shitty game until it plummets in value, and then maybe people will start picking it up when it's like 10, 20 bucks and it's fixed. If it goes free to play, they're fucked. I mean, my God. If it goes free to play, they're screwed. And that's a thing that a lot of people don't think about, and I wasn't even thinking about during the course of this video until right now, is how do they survive how fast games drop in value? Apparently they don't.